The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, listen, man, we're live. It's been like 7 days, 8 days. It's been too long. I've been working on getting some things aside from boxing in my life in order, so I haven't really been around as much. But still putting out videos, still cranking out content, and I figured, you know what? Listen, man, let's just get back into rhythm and let's just see where it goes. Let's do a nice random boxing talk type of live. So we're gonna do it, and we're gonna see where it goes. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you smash that like button. Definitely take the time to subscribe if you're new here. And if you're watching the playback, also, smash that like button, as this does help the channel. This does tell YouTube that you like and enjoy all the content that we're putting out there for the boxing world, for the boxing fans, and just for the sport that we love so much. Now, where do we even start? Well, I guess we'll start with what we have coming up this weekend. So this weekend we have a fight that I'm very, very excited about. A fight that I've been waiting for a long time here on True School Sports, and that fight is none other than the fight between Vergil Ortiz and Michael McKenzie, which we know they were negotiating that fight at the late stages of last year. Then it was scheduled for March. Then Vergil had his condition, and now as it stands now, Michael McKenzie and him are gonna fight this weekend. So fingers crossed that nothing crazy happens. Fingers crossed that we get the fight. Both fighters make weight. Both fighters make the weight comfortably and healthy, because I want to see this fight. Vergil Ortiz has never fought an undefeated fighter before. He's never fought a southpaw, so there's going to be the two first in his career, and I'm very intrigued about that. So that's speaking. But listen, there's like three things. There's like three topics I'm gonna hit on, and then as you guys start filing in, you guys can leave your comments down below, and I'll get you guys in a timely manner. So yeah, if you're just tuning in, leave your comments down below. I'll get to whatever you guys want to talk about. But yeah, there's like three things I want to talk about. So let's get to them. So we'll go to screen share, right? The first and most notable thing that I must discuss about boxing and just what's going on now. I don't know, for those that know and for those that don't know, where is it at? I saw it here earlier. Don King has done it again. It's 2022 and Don King has done it again. Don King has refused to pay Trevor Bryan, and now, not Trevor Bryan, Daniel Dubois. He's refused to pay Daniel Dubois, and now it's gotten to the point where Don King is being sued. He's being sued, and in the sixth different decade that this man has been a boxing promoter, this man is getting sued for not paying fighters what he should be paying him. Now, it really is a crying shame that it's gotten to this point. It's really a crying shame that Don King, his checkered past and his reputation continues to be tarnished even more, because look, he put up the $3.1 million for the purse bid. He's the guy that wanted this fight to happen. He's the guy that went out of his way to make this fight happen, because he was under the impression that his fighter, Trevor Bryan, was going to go out there and win the fight. Now, Trevor Bryan didn't do that. Trevor Bryan failed and failed, quite miserably, if I might add. As much as I like him, it wasn't a competitive fight. He didn't do so much as win a round or give Dubois really anything to worry about. But that's besides the point. $3.1 million was put up for this fight to happen. Trevor Bryan was supposed to get paid, or Dubois, I should say, was supposed to get paid $1.4 million. Now, it's all fucked up, because he owes Dubois upwards of $900K. He owes Queensberry Promotions $475,000 for the broadcasting and licensing fees, and that's just what it is. And I made a shorter form video about this earlier, and it'll come out later. But I'll say in this live what I said in the video. The reports are about Dubois not getting paid, but I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. It would not surprise me the least bit if Trevor Bryan hasn't gotten paid yet, because the reality is Trevor Bryan, I know for a fact that Trevor Bryan, like many Don King fighters, when they have expenses and things like that, he's gonna pretty much go ahead and take that out. It'll all be charged to your purse. So like let's say if your training expenses are $400,000 and your purse is only $350K, well, guess what? All that means is you owe Don King $50,000. It all gets taken out of your purse. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's in the red as well. Now, shout out to my man Milky Way. Milky Way says Daniel Dubois should have known better than to be doing business with Don King. It's not Daniel Dubois' fault. Daniel Dubois didn't volunteer to come to America to fight in a shitty, rundown casino in Miami against a very nondescript heavyweight who really most people don't know about. He only had to fight Trevor Bryant, and he only had to deal with Don King because Don King won the purse bid. This really isn't his fault. He's just a fighter going through the grind of being a fighter. Well, the blame should really fall. Well, I really think we should look more at is, Frank Warren. If Frank Warren really believes in his heavyweight, if he really believes in Daniel Dubois so much, then why? He was winning all these purse bids. He won the Andrade Parker purse bid. He won that big purse bid with Tyson Fury and Dillian White. He's putting up all this money for all these fights. Why didn't Frank Warren go ahead and win the purse bid for this fight? If he loves Daniel Dubois so much, why did he subject his fighter who he says he deems so highly? I was standing about 5 feet from Daniel Dubois when Frank Warren called him on the phone, and he talks like he loves the guy, but then you make him deal with Don King, you make him come to America and having to fight in this rundown casino, which, look, I'm not going to complain because I had a chance to cover the fight. I even have the program, the Fight for Freedom and Peace for the Ukraine on the wall. So it was a fun event to cover, but I'm talking about it more so from the Dubois perspective. It wasn't his fault. It was Don King's. It was Frank Warren's fault. Because how could you win all these purse bids and then not go ahead and win the purse bid that you should have won to protect your fighter from having to deal with such bullshit? So. I get where you're coming from, but you're wrong. Shout out to my pops. He says, only in America, Don King's legend lives on. You know what? It does live on. For good, bad, or indifferent, it lives on. And listen, it's been a while since we played this, but we'll play it anyway. So shout out to Don King.
Hey, everybody, let's have some fun. You don't live but once, and when you're dead, you're done. So let the good times roll. It don't matter whether you're young or old. Let the good times roll.
And Don King has been letting the good times roll for a long, long time in boxing. A lot of people on Twitter, on boxing Twitter, are making a lot of fun of Don King, saying that, Don King has been sued in not one, in my LeBron voice, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6, count them, 6 different decades. So, they say that, time tells all. Things will reveal themselves over time. And if one thing we know about Don King, he has a very, very shady way of dealing with fighters and not paying them. And that's why I always say, guys, you can't get mad at all the fuckery in the boxing business. What you gotta really be mad at is the structure of the sport or lack thereof, because there's just so much lack of structure within the boxing business. It's really ridiculous at times. Too Short 68, he says, I don't agree with Virgil Ortiz staying at welterweight. Look, a lot has been made of, his weight and his weight issues, so to speak. Virgil Ortiz actually was arguing with reporters yesterday, which was pretty crazy because Virgil Ortiz is a guy that's usually pretty boring in interviews and doesn't really show a lot of personality most of the time. Gives you the politically correct, answer. Not really much of a talker. Some would even go as far as to say is that he's a mute, But a lot was made of his condition, when he didn't fight Michael McKenzie back in March. And a lot of reporters, one guy like, one guy, my man, Ryan Prack O'Hara. Ryan O'Hara, I guess, had written articles basically saying that all this stuff with the Virgil Ortiz's condition was due to his weight. Virgil said that wasn't the case. Virgil was very angry at Ryan Prack O'Hara for writing the articles he wrote, and he pretty much said, look, man, like, I'm not going to answer your question today, and I'm never going to answer your questions because you made up a bunch of lies about me. So, listen, personally, look, there's no way of me really knowing if Virgil can make the welterweight limit. I guess we'll find out this on Friday when they have the weigh-ins. Hopefully, he can make the weight in a healthy, comfortable manner because I don't want anything bad to happen about to Virgil Ortiz. But yeah, very, very, very animated, spirited stuff from Virgil Ortiz this week. Why doesn't Golden Boy make Ortiz versus Rocha? This is coming from my man Khaled. He says, why doesn't Golden Boy make Ortiz versus Rocha, or why couldn't they make Ortiz versus Rashidi? Well, my personal opinion on that, Rashidi, is that I think the plan in the beginning was to eventually make Virgil versus Rocha. Because, one thing about Rocha that I've come to learn from going to watch him fight is that he does sell some decent tickets in the Southern California area, being that he's from Santa Ana, California. He's built up a good little fan base over there, So I think a fight with him and Virgil would have been good. But Rashidi Ellis came along and he really messed those plans up. And, I feel like Golden Boy kind of punished Rashidi Ellis for... They punished Rashidi Ellis for beating Rocha. They punished Rashidi Ellis for beating one of their darlings, so to speak. And, they put him on the shelf. They made sure that that he couldn't get fights. And, he lost some valuable time in his career. And that's why he had to sign with Al Heyman and get back active again. And that's why he got the knockout. But, that's a fight that I think, look, if Virgil can't get those fights against the top guys like your Ennis's, your Crawfords, and your Spencers, which I don't think he's going to fight either one of those three anytime soon, then that fight to me would be the most realistic. But listen, we can't even talk about Alexis Rocha. Fuck, I'm not trying to curse, but like, to heck with Alexis Rocha. He got a test in front of him come Saturday night. Michael McKenzie is coming to win. Portsmouth, UK's very own Michael McKenzie. He's come from nothing, man. He came from fighting in front of less than 500 people in the leisure centers. From nothing. They brought him in to lose against Chris Congo, and he came here and he schooled Chris Congo. So I know a lot of people are going to point to the 2 knockouts, 21 fights, but we're not writing Michael McKenzie off, and I'm not going to focus too much on future fights of Virgil because he's got a fight this weekend that he needs to worry about winning. Otherwise, them fights that we're talking about don't really matter. Michael Ryan Pitts, what's good, champ? My main man from Alabama, the Alabama Slammer, like Hardcore Harley. Michael Ryan Pitts, he says, what do you think about a fight between Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz? Truthfully, Michael, I would like that fight to happen in the near future. I know that with the way we've been programmed to think as boxing fans, we're going to say, well, like, the business of boxing and the politics won't allow the fight to happen. But the reality is we need that fight to happen soon. Like, I'm talking about within, like, 2 years. Within the next 2 years, 18 months, if possible, we would need Virgil versus Boots because Virgil Ortiz, he's one of the prominent welterweight fighters in America from the West Coast. Jaron Ennis, he's the beast from the East. He's the most skilled welterweight in the world, the guy with every skill under the sun. And I think it would be a great fight. These are two likable guys, two likable fighters, and they're both doing their thing. So hopefully sooner rather than later, if they do fight, I think Virgil has the capabilities to hurt Jaron Ennis because Jaron Ennis can get caught and his defense still does need a little bit of work. But if they fight, I got Jaron Ennis beating Virgil Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? So be a good fight though. QC says, what up, BT? As always, much respect to the channel. I appreciate your work, my dude. Just checking you out in Australia on the way to work. Well, QC, have a great day at work. Thank you for always supporting the channel. I appreciate the Aussies and the fine folks like yourself that give me the support. And yeah, man, God bless. Did you have any more interviews with Frank from Gleason's Gym? It was cool listening to someone who saw him in the flesh. No, and I appreciate you, Nelson Josiah Johnson, for going back in my archives and watching those classics like that. No, I met Frank from Gleason's twice. I met him once, 2016, and that's when I was covering the Crawford versus Crawford versus Hank Lundy fight. Oh, I think. And I went to Gleason's Gym one day, and he just happened to be there. And then I saw him again in 2017, but I didn't interview him. So I'm not even sure if he's alive, to be honest with you, anymore. I'll have to, talk to my people in New York and ask around about that. But no, I only interviewed him one time. But definitely someone who knows his boxing. And when you're around a guy like Frank, it kind of takes you back to the old days. Because this is a guy that saw Sugar Ray Robinson fight live and saw Rocky Marciano fight live and train and these things. So, yeah. one of my proudest interviews for sure. With McKenzie having to prepare, do you give him a chance against Virgil Ortiz? Of course. I'm in the very, very slim minority. I think Michael McKenzie is a live dog in this fight because Michael McKenzie is a southpaw. Michael McKenzie is a guy that understands range very well. Michael McKenzie is a guy that is really awkward and is very good at disrupting timing. Michael McKenzie is also deceptively strong. And one thing Michael McKenzie does well is that when he's boxing you, Michael McKenzie is boxing you and he throws that jab out there. If he misses a punch, whether it be a jab, straight left hand, whatever, he's very good at smothering the opponents after he misses punches. So I feel like the key for Virgil is to keep Michael McKenzie on the end of the jab and not let him smother him. For McKenzie, I think when he's at mid range and long range, a lot of feints to disrupt the timing of Virgil, and when he gets past that long jab of his, get on the inside, use that physical strength, make it ugly, make it physical, and smother him. So I give him a chance, but he's not getting a decision. I'll tell you that much. He doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of getting a decision against Virgil Ortiz in Texas. That's just my opinion, but I want him to win. I like him. Cardiff Wales, shout out to Cardiff Wales. Joe Cordina, the Welsh. Yes sir, yes sir. My man Android number 1983. He says, did you get a chance to check out Hayato, his debut? No, I didn't get a chance to check it out. I know who this is. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for all the messages on Instagram. I had a kind of weird month last month, so I was here, but I wasn't really here mentally that much in the month of July. But I'm gonna get to all your messages on Instagram, and I'm gonna watch all the videos because you send me really good stuff about the Japanese fighters, and I want to do videos about those kind of things. So I'm definitely get to it within the coming days. Hey, Brandon D. Hooker says, hey, what's the deal, BT? Check out your last videos, bro. There's some audio discrepancies. Yeah, I know, cause this iPhone, the microphone on the iPhone went out, so I had to go buy another microphone for it, which is, the microphone is good, but then I noticed sometimes when I put my phone on the computer, there's this little buzzing sound that people have been complaining about. So what I'm doing now is I'm kind of walking around the room when I do videos, so to eliminate that. But yeah, thank you, man. He says, I agree with your boo-boo take. Hold on. QC says, I agree with your boo-boo take. He's out here looking bad. He needs to go ahead and fight Johnny Beck, put a masterpiece performance on ESPN, and get some traction on the bigger fights. And I agree, man. It's ridiculous. A lot of people who agree with me about Demetrius Andrade in the past, now I'm getting called all the names under the sun. They're saying, True School, you're a sellout, you're two-faced, all these negative things about me. And it's just so funny, man, because this is a guy that I've really been flying the flag high for because I really do like him and I believe in him. But, he really is looking bad. And we don't got to talk about that too long because I've pretty much beat that like a dead horse. But yeah, Demetrius Andrade needs to get his shit together. 704, Joe, Dallas, Texas, we in here. Where we at? He says, two-part question. Did you ever visit Krong Gym and what's your favorite gym? So to answer your first question, no, I've never visited Krong Gym. I've never even been to Detroit, but it's on the list. I would like to visit Detroit because I have a lot of friends from Detroit that have, people from South Florida. My favorite gym, it's hard. There's a lot of great gyms out there. A lot of great gyms, and I've been to so many of them. I guess I'll just give you a couple that I really like. So I like Warriors Boxing Gym here in South Florida. That's a great gym. Beta Bay Boxing, which is my home gym. One of my home gyms, as far as where I used to train at. Canino's Boxing Gym, the first gym I ever boxed at, definitely a special place for me. Salas Boxing Academy, another great one. Mundo Boxing. What else? I mean, there's just so many gyms I've been to, man. It's hard to just pick one, but those are some of the gyms that come to mind. Hopefully, Regis versus Cepeda goes through. Who would you have in that fight? I made a video about that recently, which is gonna drop soon. I haven't had a chance to really think too deeply about the matchup. It's a southpaw on southpaw matchup. Two southpaw power punching fighters. I would slightly favor Regis only because Regis is very heavy-handed. He's got good timing, and he can be a little bit awkward at times. Cepeda is going to come forward, Cepeda is going to be very, very game and dangerous. Cepeda is one of the best fighters at 140 that has not won a world title, so you would obviously think he's hungry, but then you also got to look at like Regis Prograis. This is a guy in Prograis that Prograis hasn't. He's been waiting like 3 years, damn near, for his opportunity at another world title shot. So you look at that. You look at what he brings to the table, and I would say Regis Prograis wins a close fight, but it really could go either way. Let me see. We got a lot of people here. Shout out to everybody here. Make sure you guys smash that like button if you're here. Let me know what city, what state, what continent you're watching from. We're trying to get back in the swing of doing these lives, giving the people that live world-class boxing content that they love oh so much. So, yeah, man. Pugilism says the deal with Matthias versus Ponce at IBF 140. Mendo, promote Matthias, get the PR support from Matthias. He's the most underrated, overlooked, high-caliber pressure fighter style that gives all the 140s and 135 coming up. Well, listen, man, I've made a couple videos recently about Matthias. I was campaigning for him to fight Regis Prograis. I was saying that Regis Prograis was on that bullshit when he was crying about nobody wanting to fight him, but then you had Subriel Matthias screaming his name from the mountaintops. So I like Matthias. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for his career. Let me see. Nelson Josiah Johnson says, it was crazy watching clips of Marciano do his road work in a woolly jumper shirt and trousers. Yeah, man, them old school fighters, they were built just a little bit different. A little bit different. Yeah. I agree, man. He needs more support, Matthias. Do you think Top Rank will finesse Regis with a multi-fight deal like they did with Devin Haney? It's possible. I wouldn't necessarily call what happened to Devin Haney being finessed. Devin Haney is getting a chance to fight on the ESPN platform and grow his name even more, so I wouldn't necessarily call that being finessed. And plus, Top Rank has Shakur Stevenson, so that's a possible fight for him, and him being with them, even though I hate it and it's bullshit, and like I think all this network politics stuff is just all a smokescreen that the promoters feed to us to get us brainwashed and for them to have an excuse to not make fights happen. But it does make things just a tad bit easier for Devin Haney to make like a potential fight against like a Shakur Stevenson type of fighters, Brandon Clark, what's good? Chevy says True School Sports. That's right, the untouchable, the homo boxing. We here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hope all is well. You should watch why British actors end up with all the good roles. Key and Peele, and I promise you will have more of understanding why American fighters are treated like a red-headed stepchild. Okay. Yeah. American fighters do get treated like red-headed stepchild, but at the same time, look, American fighters do get treated like red-headed stepchilds at times, but at the same time, American fighters, a lot of them, I'm not gonna say all of them, but high percentage of them had this very like undefeated, they had this like entitlement. They had this entitlement mentality, and sometimes it hurts them. Not all of them, but a lot of American fighters. He is. No, he is. He is undefeated against Southpaw, so it's going to be interesting to see. We know Prograis isn't undefeated against Southpaw because we know his only loss was to a Southpaw. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Who do you think wins Usyk versus AJ2? Great question. There's a lot of talk coming from like British boxing and British boxers and the British boxing establishment that Anthony Joshua is going to do this and Anthony Joshua is going to do that. Now, mind you, I like Anthony Joshua. I'm an Anthony Joshua fan, and I will always like Anthony Joshua, and I will always support Anthony Joshua because this was a guy that for about a good 18-month stretch carried the heavyweight division on his shoulders, okay? So I have a lot of time for Anthony Joshua. But Alexander Usyk is he's a cut above the rest. He's a different type of fighter. I think if Anthony Joshua comes out and tries to be more aggressive, he's going to get hurt, and hurt badly. So just so long as Usyk is in shape, I don't see why Usyk can't beat AJ again. Old school boxers used to run in. Yeah, they did. Muhammad Ali used to. I did an interview many years ago with Dino Spencer, one of the trainers down at Fifth Street Gym. He's still training fighters to this day. He told me a story in one of our interviews that Muhammad Ali used to run like 7 or 8 miles or 9 miles in Miami, because Fifth Street Gym is in Miami, with the hoodie on, the hoodie, the boots, everything. That's why they had such great footwork. My main man, Boxing Gems, the Dundada of boxing film studies, in the comments. What's good, champ? Good to see you. By the way, everybody say what's up to Pops. You know, I want to get to one of Pops' comments that I missed. He asked me a question. He said, if John Ryder and Haim Munguia fight at 168, who do you got? Now, that's a great question because for those that know and for those that don't know, this is a fight that, according to Eddie Hearn, is being discussed because, you know, Munguia isn't really keen on fighting anybody at 160, and even if he became champion at 160, there really isn't much there at 160. So I guess Golden Boy decided they want to try to take him up to 168 and see what they can do with the young man at 168. But I think, look, if he takes this fight next, then I gotta give Munguia and Golden Boy a lot of credit because John Ryder, while he's not the most aesthetically pleasing fighter in the world, John Ryder is one of the toughest fighters to beat in the 168 division because of how he fights. You know, he's a southpaw, can box a little bit, great gas tank, really good durability, has a good chin on him, just knows how to grind you down. So, you know, we saw Munguia's last fight against Jimmy Kelly. You know, when Jimmy Kelly decided to become a combination puncher, he had a lot of success against Munguia, and he was all the way in his bag against Haim Munguia. So, I think it's a fight that really could go either way. It's tough. I think I would have to favor at 168. I would slightly favor Munguia, but John Ryder could beat him. I think John can beat him. I think it's a very, very winnable fight for John Ryder. We know that as much as Munguia is learning and supposedly getting better, we know that Munguia is very vulnerable. He does lose rounds, and I think he's there to be beat. And Golden Boy knows that, and that's why they've been very, very careful about who they put him in the ring with. You know. Promote the next Shakur card as the Fab Five of boxing. Shakur, Keyshawn Davis, Shushu, Jahai Tucker, Cashflow Diaz, the big Fab Five. Growing up, they can pull. Well, you know, I'll tell you this: Shakur, I think is really good. Keyshawn Davis, I like Keyshawn Davis. I do have some questions about, you know, like his mentality a little bit, just because he be whining on Twitter all the time. But Shakur, I think it's A-level. Keyshawn Davis has potential to be A-level. Bruce Carrington, I like Bruce. I want Bruce to really go far because he's a really nice person. Bruce is like 25. He turned pro a little bit later. I don't know if his ceiling is high I don't know if Bruce Carrington's ceiling is as high as like some of the other top-ranked prospects. Like personally, for me, the top-ranked prospect, like you just named a bunch of top-ranked prospects: Jahai Tucker, Cashflow Diaz, Bruce Carrington. These guys are all good in their own right. They're all talented in their own right. But for me, the best top-ranked prospect, for my money, is a guy I just put a video on, and that's none other than Cleveland, Ohio's very young Abdullah Mason, who I'm supposed to interview soon, but I've been kind of like on some BS recently, so I got to get back to him and interview him soon. But yeah, Abdullah Mason, to me, I think he's got an extremely high ceiling. I mean, because he's 18 years old. And I always talk about him in these lives, but he's 18 years old, long, rangy frame. He's 5'9", so you would probably think he's going to grow another inch or half an inch more. If that happens, he'll be 5'10". You're looking at a kid who could potentially fill out at welterweight. Had only 80 amateur fights, which I think is a good thing because sometimes when you have these 300 amateur fights, you have these amateurs that come to the pros and they're already burnt out before they've had 10 pro fights. I think he had the right amount of amateur fights. Very level-headed, very, very smart, getting world-class sparring with Shakur Stevenson. I think he'll be a multi-divisional champion. And I don't really say that about a lot of fighters when they're like 4-0, 3-0, but I think highly of him. You know? Let me see, man. A lot of comments. Shout out to everybody for dropping the comments. My man Brandon D says, what did he say? He said, I say finesse because Haney can't choose his opponents as before he had free range. Well, listen. He's going to fight George Kambosos next, probably in the tennis stadium. That's what's been reported. They're saying October. If he can get through that, which he should, you know, look, there's options out there for him. You got Shakur, you got Tio, you got a lot of options. Josh Taylor. There's a lot of options for Devin, so I don't think being with Top Rank's a bad thing for the weight class that he's at, personally. Who do you have between Blair Cobbs and Reese Hooker? I'm picking Blair Cobbs. That's a great question. It's hard. That's a hard one to pick for me because Maurice Hooker has been a world champion. He's had the better career. He's beat the more established names. But he's only had one fight at 147, and he's coming off of a hand surgery. But then Blair Cobb is coming off a loss too. So it's hard to pick. I'm leaning slightly towards Blair, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not really confident either way in this fight. And that's why I think it's a good fight. It's a damn near pick'em fight. But I'm leaning towards Blair, but I'm not really confident in Blair like that. Old school boxers crippled the knees by running in combat boots. I heard Donald Curry mention it. Yeah, I mean that's something they've been saying. They've been saying like when you run on the asphalt and the concrete so much, it's not good for your knees. But I think if you relegate it to 3 to 4 times a week max, you'll be good. Just don't run in combat boots. Yeah, and see, me and boxing gyms are on one accord. Abdullah Mason definitely looks like the goods. He looks like someone that is going to be a multi-divisional champion, a guy that will have a chance to really make some serious noise in boxing. I'm looking very forward to seeing his development, and I'm going to get him here on the channel soon. Prince Paul Williams says Danny Garcia had an okay performance, but he didn't fight 154. To me, he has to fight Tony Harrison, but I think Tony would knock his Puerto Rican ass out. Hey, that'd be a good fight for Danny. I like that fight. We'll see what we'll see what happens with that as it moves forward. We got our first super chat of the day. Shout out to my man Android number 1983 with the first super chat, and you guys know the drill. When the super chats come out, so does Don King. So Don King, we know you're getting sued. We know that Daniel Dubois took you to Broward County Court, but Don King, when the super chats come out, so does Don King. So Don King, go ahead and talk to him.
Hey everybody, let's have some fun. You don't live but once, and when you're dead, you're done. So let the good times roll. It don't matter whether you're young or old. Let the good times roll.
And let the good times roll. We will here on True School Sports. Man, Android says, one of the most underrated channels out. Thanks for doing what you do. Thank you, man. I am I'm not gonna lie, I believe I am a little underrated. But you know what? It takes my channel a little bit longer to grow because I'm always telling the truth about fighters. I've lost over 12,000 subscribers over the years, so it takes me a little bit longer to grow because people get in their feelings and unsubscribe all the time. But I appreciate people like yourself who message me on Instagram and send me things about fighters I don't know about, and you got people like yourself keep me sharp and give me the motivation and the drive on top of like the discipline that I built up all these years to keep doing this. So yeah, thank you, man, much appreciated. Prince Paulium says, hold on, where is it at? Shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, Brendan Taylor, the untouchable True School Sports Empire, getting in that afternoon boxing talk. It don't matter, day, night, rain, sleet, snow, we can always talk boxing. Prince Paul Williams says, you don't seem to talk about Tony Harrison all that much. He's ducking Tony Harrison. You think so? You think so? I love Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison is one of my favorite fighters, so I don't know where you get that idea from. I rooted against Tony. I rooted for Tony Harrison against Jamal Charlo in both fights. I've rooted for Tony Harrison in pretty much all of his fights, so I like him. Hopefully he can continue to win. I thought he had a great performance his last fight against Sergio Garcia, and he reminded the world that, hey, look, like, he is one of the best 154 pounders. He is one of the most skilled 154 pounders, and if he fights Danny Garcia and beats him, at some point I still want to see him fight Tim Tszyu, because he didn't want to fight Tim Tszyu. He didn't want to go to Australia to fight Tim Tszyu. So I think at some point he got to go see Tim Tszyu. What do you think about that new prospect from the UK that Sugar Hill is trading? What caught your attention to his skills? And yeah, Pops is talking about Ben Whitaker. Benjamin Whitaker, the silver medalist at light heavyweight. He just made his professional debut this past weekend on the Isaac Chamberlain, Chris Billings-Smith card. Which, by the way, shout out to Isaac Chamberlain, shout out to Chris Billings-Smith. With all the bullshit going on in boxing, they put on one hell of a fight. That really reminded me why I love boxing. But as far as Ben Whitaker is concerned, first of all, he's got a great frame for the weight class. 6'3", long, rangy, can punch. He's got good boxing instincts, good reflexes, and he's got that long, straight, solid right hand. And he's the kind of fighter that if you went into a lab and you said, okay, let's create the kind of fighter that Sugar Hill Stewart would want to train, it would be this guy right here. So I think just so long as he listens to Sugar Hill Stewart and he continues to learn about, what Sugar Hill Stewart likes to call his punching power range, he'll be more than fine. I think he'll be someone that goes far in boxing. He's coming in with a good foundation. He won a silver medal. Sugar, he did say, interesting enough, Ben Whitaker did say that he's trying to win a British title before his 5th fight. So for those that know and for those that don't know, the British champion at light heavyweight is Dan Aziz, who's like 16-0 with like 11 KOs. Dan Aziz's biggest win so far of his career came last year when he knocked out Hosea Burton in 7 rounds. So, yeah, man. MEZBX says he's going with Maurice Hooker to stop Blair Cobbs. I hope so, man. I like them both, but I don't know. I'm not even sure who I'm rooting for. I like them both. Yeah, pro athletes do an amount of exercise that is unhealthy long term. Don't casually think running on concrete is going to have the same effect if you're not doing 3 miles of road work every day. Yeah, personally, look, I used to run a lot of miles on the concrete. I don't really like it as much anymore. I become a treadmill guy. I love the treadmill because you can actually see and track your progress. Like, so when I go to the gym these days, like, I like to pick up the speed as I go up. As I continue to run, I like to pick up the speed as I continue to run. And you can track how many calories you lost. You can track how many miles you ran. So I become a treadmill guy. But yeah, it's not bad. Spider Moose says, man, your Constable Holyfield and Bo is legendary. Stick with it. Yeah, man, that's really one of the things I'm known for, and that's not a bad thing to be known for. So yeah, I appreciate it. We had I had an interview with Riddick Bowe earlier in June, and it was pretty good. So yeah, man, shout out to those guys. I got a lot of love for those guys. They never had to give me all the time they gave me when they were at the heavyweight factory, but they did. So I'm always gonna be grateful for those guys. Kawasaki used to run in the hills and the valleys of South Wales, which explains his stamina. Yeah, man, when you run in these mountains, these hills and these mountains, you can really build up your stamina really well. I mean, I've only ran a mountain one time, and I put the video out here last year when I ran Mount Charleston with Angelo Leo and Marcos Paz, 2 professional fighters. One guy who is a former world champion and one guy who's, had 60 amateur fights and it has about 2 or 3 fights in the pros now. So I ran with them. I couldn't keep up. They were way ahead of me, but I did run Mount Charleston. It is tough, and it's definitely something like that can get your stamina and your mental toughness and your presence and your clarity and your fortitude right for a fight. So yeah, it makes sense why Joe Kawasaki had so much stamina. Boxing Gems film along your channel is being the only ones that covers VP praising on Bivol. Made Bivol call easy versus Canelo. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, anybody who's really been following boxing knows that Pernell Whitaker loved, not liked, not kind of had a liking for, but he loved and respected and told everybody years ago about Bivol. So, when a guy like that speaks, you listen. But yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for the support. Gorgua says Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora 3 are in talks now. That's a horrible fight. I swear to God. I mean, look, Tyson Fury just fought Deontay Wilder 3 times. He fought Dillian White. Chisora, it's a tune-up fight. Stay busy, I guess, until he can possibly get a big fight. But yeah, I don't want to see that shit. That's horrible. I got Michaela Mir outboxing Alicia and Bumgarner. What do you think about that woman's bout? I love that bout. I love that fight. I think that fight is good because I think the more explosive fighter of the two is obviously the bomb, Alicia Bumgarner. She's someone that is very athletic, very explosive. Didn't necessarily have the amateur exploits or background of Michaela Mir, but she's got more of a professional style. I think those first 3 to 4 rounds for Michaela Mir are very imperative. They're very important because she cannot allow Alicia Bumgarner to land any sort of power punches or anything like that. I see that the way I see the fight going is I think Michaela Mir will. I think Alicia Bumgarner will get out to a good start. She might even hurt Michaela Mir early, but I think Michaela Mir is gonna. I think Michaela Mir will probably win a close decision. That's what I think. But I'm rooting. But personally, I'm rooting for Alicia Bumgarner. But I think Michaela Mir will probably win a close decision. Prince Paul Williams says no. Tim got to see Tony. Tony don't want to get the shot. Tim Zoo privileged ass don't got a belt. That's why he should go over here. What is he? The Conor Benn of the UK, never leaving his country. He's actually way greater than Conor Benn in Australia. First of all, Tim Tszyu is he's already a pay-per-view star in Australia, and evidence of that can be seen whenever the fuck I go live for a Tim Tszyu fight. Every time I go live for a Tim Tszyu fight, there's literally like 300 Australians here, 400, 500, 600 Australians here, 1,000 Australians here at one time. It's crazy. Okay? He's already got a street in Australia named after him, so don't ever compare him to Conor Benn. As far as Tony Harrison and him, listen, Tony had a chance to go over there and fight him. He didn't take it. And now Tony's over here waiting for Danny Garcia, and Tim Tszyu's gonna fight Jamal Charlo for the undisputed championship of the world. So make of that what you will. Pops asks, is there any gym you've been to that has the same camaraderie like the Philly gym we went to? Yeah, there's gyms like that. I mean, I think Warriors Boxing Gym has great chemistry here in South Florida. A lot of gyms like that, but yeah, that Philly Boxing 1-on-1, the home of Jerron Ennis and Stephen Fulton, great gym. You know, really one of the jewels of boxing. Is the secret of Sugar Hill's success is the history with the Kronk Gym. Hiring him as a coach is a magic pill in itself. If Whitaker isn't aware of Kronk and what it produced, then Sugar Hill won't help. Well, I don't think Ben Whitaker will have that issue because Ben Whitaker's favorite fighter of all time is Thomas Hitman Hearns. So yeah, you know, that's worth noting. I think Ben Whitaker, he strikes me as a guy that will listen. Now I do know that Sugar Hill Stewart and Ben Whitaker were here training. I haven't crossed paths with him yet, but I would like to meet Ben Whitaker and see what he's about, get a good feel for him in the gym, and see what he's like in the gym training wise, and that'll give me a better feel for, you know, what kind of fighter he'll be moving forward. Rico Ransom says, it's funny how Bivol is not getting his credit, though. He's still not getting his credit. And it's crazy. It's crazy, Rico, because I'm going to tell you guys something. Now, you guys can go look this up. But when I was in Las Vegas last month, like early last month, I remember I went to Walgreens. I went to a store to get some like gummy bears or some snacks or something. And, you know, the interesting thing about going to these Walgreens stores in like Las Vegas or just anywhere on the West Coast is that like on the newsstands, on the magazine stands, they actually have Ring Magazine. In South Florida, they don't have Ring Magazine because boxing is not that big here as far as like, you know, on this part of the country. We don't really have Ring Magazines at the Walgreens. So if you want Ring Magazine, you have to buy them and have them shipped to your door if you live in South Florida. But when I was at Walgreens, I had some gummy bears in my hand and I went to go look at the Ring Magazine. So on this particular issue, it was the issue where they had Katie Taylor on the cover. Now, I don't got no issue with Katie Taylor being on the cover. But the issue I did have is if you pick up that issue, the most recent Ring Magazine, one of the most recent ones where Katie Taylor's on the cover for the Serrano fight, it says like, it has like a headline there about Katie Taylor and the Serrano fight, and then like in the corner, on the top right hand corner of the magazine, it says like Bivol upsets Canelo, but like it's just in the top of the corner, like it's just some sort of footnote. So what the fuck is going on, man? Why isn't Bivol on the cover of Ring Magazine? Why is Ring Magazine not giving Bivol a cover, and why is his great win against the so-called best fighter in the world just being put on the side of the magazine? You know, just wanted to throw that out there. BT, who do you got between Joyce versus Parker? Great question. I got Joyce. I think Joseph Parker is, you know, when he puts his hands together, he can be a dangerous heavyweight. But I think Joseph Parker in recent years has regressed. You know, when he was a prospect, he used to let his hands go a lot. Was, you know, 6'3", you know, kind of has the build of a 1990s heavyweight. But he's regressed. I think he just doesn't have the spitefulness or the meanness to really win at the next level. Even though he became champion, to consistently win at the next level, I just don't think he has that about him. And that's why I thought he lost to Dillian White. You know, so I'm gonna go with Joyce. I think Joyce has a really good, consistent jab. This is a guy in Joyce, as I've seen the data, because if you guys saw the interview, I interviewed Ismael Salas' assistant coach, Edith Calderas, when I was in Vegas last time, and he literally pulled out his notepad because he's there with Joyce every day at the Salas Box Academy with the clicker. Every time Joyce throws a punch, he's clicking the clicker, and Joyce is throwing upwards of like 110, 115 punches around. So it's like when you get a guy like that, it's not easy. Boxing Gem says, it's definitely not easy to pick against Canelo on points, but whether he got the nod or not, we knew Bivol would outbox Canelo. Exactly. Yeah, there is no way on hell. There is absolutely no way on hell that you could confidently pick against Canelo in any fight on points. I'm going to tell you this. Bivol was as lucky, blessed. God chose Bivol to win that fight that night because there's just no way in hell that Golovkin will get the same decision. No way. I can't see Golovkin getting a decision against Canelo Alvarez in this third fight coming up if he does outbox him. 704 Joe, he says, I love your channel. I hate when channels try to make me choose between them and another channel. I refuse to choose. Well, listen, I'm not here to make you choose or anything like that. I'm just here to provide good content, be an ambassador for the sport of boxing, and just keep this shit going. You know, we're 7 years in. It's taken me a long time to get to this point because I lose a lot of subscribers because I'm always constantly telling the truth and speaking my mind. But it's been a very rewarding journey, and I'm going to continue to keep doing what I'm doing because it means a lot to a lot of people. There's only one Tommy Hearn. I don't hate the idea of Sugar Hill training Whitaker. I just know he'll be scapegoated if Whitaker doesn't produce Tommy Hearn's like performances. Well, listen, even if he is scapegoated, I'm gonna tell you this about Sugar Hill Stewart. He doesn't give a fuck. This guy does not care. He's unbothered. He's gonna continue to live his life, have a good time, and train and teach people the best he can. So it doesn't really matter. I think it's that attitude. It's that carefree attitude and that attention to detail that he has. Those two qualities. The two qualities Sugar Stewart has that I've seen in the gym is, number one, this carefree, easygoing attitude. Nothing bothers him. He's never too high. He's never too low, but he's always having fun. And then just the attention to detail. Every last inch of your hips and your shoulders and the shoulder snap must be perfect with him. Because he wants knockouts. He's not going there for decisions. Crawford and Spence is like spoiled milk. And to me, if it's funny if Crawford lost for robbery because all the biased guys who thought he was the favorite lost. Crawford has no promoter and no network. Man, fuck that fight, man. Straight up. I got nothing to say about it. It's August. This fight still hasn't happened. Just get it done for the sake of the boxing fans that do want to see it. With Ronnie Shields training Philip Hrgovic, how far can Hrgovic go? I thought Pedro Diaz was legit. Pedro Diaz is legit, and Hrgovic even said that recently about Pedro Diaz, spoke highly of him to the Boxing Voice in recent interviews. And then, according to the Croatian subscribers I have that comment a lot, they say that in the Croatian media and the Croatian newspapers that Philip Hrgovic spoke nothing but good things about Pedro Diaz. But from what he said in the Boxing Voice interview, he said that Pedro Diaz was good for conditioning, and Pedro's done a great job of the conditioning aspect of things, but he said he wanted someone that would, I guess, work on the more technical side of boxing, which was what Ronnie Shields is doing with him. So I would expect the guy in Hrgovic to be a more of a jab-dominant fighter in his next fight with Zhang Zhilei. Now, somebody asked me earlier, do I like the Zhang Zhilei fight? I don't like the fight per se, but I like what it can do for Hrgovic. It's an IBF final eliminator, so if he wins the fight, he can put himself in position to fight for the heavyweight title. So I like that aspect of it, and I like the fact that he's just active again. So yeah, I like that part of it. But the fight itself, it's cool. It's whatever. I don't think Zhang Zhilei has a huge chance, but he's got it's heavyweight boxing. Anybody has a chance. My man Marcellus Davis says, I have a sense that the Charlo versus Andre fight happens. Your genuine opinion, please. I personally think, man, I would love for that fight to happen, but I think the whole drunk call out from Charlo to Andre, it was just that, a drunk call out. I don't really think there's any intent to fight Andre, and yeah, I don't, because Steven Espinoza has made every excuse under the sun to not make the fight happen. Steven Espinoza is what Conor McGregor said he is, a weasel, a lying lawyer who should never be trusted. Nothing that ever comes out of Steven Espinoza's mouth when it pertains to boxing or fighters who are not signed to Showtime, PBC, and the Al Haymon umbrella, nothing he says should ever be trusted, okay? So I really think the fight's a pipe dream. I want it to happen, but I just don't see it happening because, Jamal Charles doesn't want the fight. Steven Espinoza has went ahead and brought up old things from the past, and it doesn't look like they're open to exploring that possibility again, based on what I saw Steven Espinoza say. So yeah. Rico Ransom, shout out to him. He says, "Did you see Benavidez say he needs some tune-up fights to fight Benavidez? LOL, you were right, BT, but his fans call him the boogeyman." Yeah, of course I saw it. Of course I saw it. You think anything gets by your boy BT? Absolutely not. When it comes to Benavidez, I'm gonna do a video about that soon because man, I'm trying not to talk trash about Benavidez because I do think like he is in some regards. When it comes to Samson boxing, I do think there is a part of his career that should be blamed on Samson Lukowicz and Samson boxing. But man, this guy talks all the shit in the world when it comes to Plant. I'll knock him out. He's a pussy. I'll put him in the hospital. When it comes to Charlo, I'll knock him out. He's a pussy. I'll put him in the hospital. When it comes to all these guys, he's quick to say that. But then all of a sudden, when they mention that big Chechnyan monster, Artur Beterbiev, now all of a sudden he wants to say, well, I want to go up the ranking system because I respect boxing. He's a great fighter. I want to go up the ranking system. Come on, man. Come on. You respect boxing? You fighting Kyron Davis. Don't give me that you respect this boxing bullshit. You don't want to go fight him right away because you know what's going to happen. That's why your team and you didn't want to take the fight when you had a chance to make the damn fight. So, yeah, I saw it. And exposed. Andy Cruz Jr.'s being added to the light heavyweight division would have been insane. Lightweight division would have been insane. Hopefully he escapes properly. So yeah, hopefully he escapes just for his own life's sake because, Andy Cruz is gonna have a very, very difficult life because he tried to escape Cuba. I mean, it's fucked up what's going on over there. Shout out to my main man Andrew from the UK. Hey, much love to my UK subscribers from the shores of Bournemouth to the Midlands of Birmingham and West Brom to the main cities like Liverpool and Manchester. I love everybody in the UK that subscribes to True School Sports because they've been great to me over the years. He says, evening from the UK, mate. How do you see the Usyk rematch going? I have Usyk by late stoppage. I think Usyk is going to stop Anthony Joshua around the 8th, 9th round. I think Anthony Joshua will gas late. I think Robert Garcia is going to try to get him to fight like a lot of other Robert Garcia trained fighters, and I think the notion that not everybody can train heavyweights is going to be proven correct again. But I'm very intrigued to see how Anthony Joshua goes ahead and makes the adjustments. We all forgot Oscar owns the magazine and Keith Thurman Keith Thurman. Yeah, he does own the magazine. It's ridiculous. Johnny says the Rene Dupree. That's right, Rene Dupree. Yes. For those that don't know, I recently bought a PlayStation 2 because I live really far from like everything in South Florida. So when I'm home in this room, sometimes I love boxing, but my mind is on boxing so much that sometimes it can get overwhelming, and then it causes me to have burnout, and then it causes me to not go live and not make videos as much as I should. So I recently bought a PlayStation 2 from a local vintage video game store. Shout out to the fine folks at Game Island out there in downtown Miami. I was out there and I bought like 15 video games, PlayStation 2 controllers, memory card. I got all kinds of games. NBA Ballers, Max Payne, FIFA 2002, MLB Slugfest, NHL Hits, 50 Cent Bulletproof. The list goes on and on. But one of the games I also got was WWE SmackDown vs. Raw. And, my man Johnny right here from Vegas, the Pride and Jordan of Las Vegas, we were FaceTiming last night, and I was playing story mode on SmackDown vs. Raw. Here Comes the Pain with Rene Dupree, the French wrestler. And he can tell you about it. It was pretty lit. But yeah, shout out to Johnny out there in North Las Vegas. Real American boxing fan, thank you for bringing Tim Devastator Bradley to the show. Definitely a real guy, 100%. It was a couple of questions that I wanted to ask him. I hope you bring him back. I'm definitely gonna bring him back for sure. I had a great time interviewing him. There's like 2 or 3 interviews I want to knock out before I think about bringing him back, because there's people that I gotta interview still. I want to try to bring Tim Bradley and Sean Porter on here at the same time. That's really a dream of mine to do at some point. So I'm looking at doing that in the future. Also, for those that wanted an update on my venture with Sean Porter, because for those that know, for those that don't know, Sean Porter has a app/website dedicated to covering the amateur fighters called the ABC, which is short for Amateur Boxing Champions. I announced that like 2 or 3 months ago. The app's gonna launch supposedly, from what he told me, in September. At the end of this month, I'll be going to Colorado with Sean Porter and Sean Tatel to cover a USA boxing event, tournament, and get some content for the app and things like that. So yeah, stay tuned for that, man. That's gonna be something crazy when it gets started, for real. AJ is in the same predicament as the first fight. He needs a KO. Hopefully that Robert Garcia Maidana style helps him get that, because Usyk ain't no Ruiz though. No, Usyk is better than Ruiz by a lot too. Eddie Hearn is a bitch. Did you know all these fighters like Hrgovic, Bam Rodriguez, and Bivol, he is not the sole promoter? No, he's not. I did know that. Hrgovic's promoted by the Soderlands, Bam is Tekken Promotions, and Bivol is with RCC Boxing, and they'll find folks over there. So yeah, I'm very aware. And then when Eddie Hearn was promoting Jarrell Miller, he was with Greg Cohn Promotions and things like that. So Eddie Hearn generally works out most of his deals with American fighters like that. Anybody who's not like a British fighter, he normally has like a joint deal, or he's not the sole promoter. Why did Jamal Charlo try to fight a guy Demetrius Andre beat? I really think the fight does happen because you don't have anyone to fight, and more Jamal Charlo is active makes Jamal look worse. It does, yeah. I agree with that. I agree. The more Jamal is active, the more it makes Jamal look worse. But personally, look, I think Jamal Charlo is a lost soul. The guy's constantly getting drunk. The guy's constantly, I don't know the guy personally. I don't care to, but I'm just saying, like, from the outside looking in, it seems like he's got problems outside of boxing that are much bigger than boxing, in my opinion. So he need to get out the Lord, and he need to sort himself out. But it's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. It's the afternoon show, random boxing talk. So I don't really have one particular topic I'm talking about. I'm kind of just going everywhere with it. So if you guys got any questions, any comments, thoughts, concerns, feel free to leave that down below, and we'll definitely get to all that in a timely manner, quickly and swiftly. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate all you guys that continue to keep me, giving me the push to keep going, man. Because without you guys, this channel would not be anything. Let me see. Anthony Mazzano, what's good, champ? Hope all is well with you. Being a boxing fan in the summer is trash, bro. My Saturdays have been empty. Yeah, that's why I feel like it's been a good time for me to really reevaluate, my life outside of boxing. So I'm looking into doing some things outside of boxing, like just hobbies and stuff. But yeah, July was depressing for me personally. Between my boy Gabe dying abruptly to the boxing schedule not being the most full in July, to just a lot of things. July was, the summer's been not that good, being honest. But listen, it always gets dark before the sun comes up. So there's better days ahead. I feel like this month's gonna be a great month with this fight this weekend, Tio next week, Joshua, Broner, it's a good, Comey versus Pedraza. There's good fights this week. Who do you have in the Luis Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz fight? I'm so hyped about this fight. I cannot wait, bro. This fight needs an all access. Yeah, these are the two guys that ducked Filip Hrgovic. I want to say Luis Ortiz because I feel like Luis Ortiz is the better fighter, but Luis Ortiz is old. So I'm gonna go Andy Ruiz. I'm gonna go Andy Ruiz, but I'm not really confident. I'm really not. Anthony Mazzano says, do you think Bam Rodriguez might be the first fighter in a long time to be undisputed at the same time in multiple divisions? I think it'll be difficult to be undisputed just in one weight class because in the lower weight classes, undisputed fights generally don't happen that often because, these guys don't get paid a lot of money. And then, like, when you have 4 belts, that's a lot of sanctioning fees and you got taxes and things like that. So I think it'll be difficult just for him to do it in one weight class. But I do think Bam has the capabilities to beat any and every fighter from 108 to 115, So we'll see. We'll see how his career develops. We'll see how it all develops and comes to pass. But Bam Rodriguez, a fighter with the high ceiling and a lot of potential and a lot of talent, and he's like one of the only things that I could say right now. A lot of people like myself have grown very disheartened and very disgruntled with the whole like Earl Spence, Terence Crawford fiasco and saga. Bam Rodriguez has been a breath of fresh air, not just in comparison to those guys, but just in comparison to a lot of fighters in boxing who aren't doing what they're supposed to do. You don't think Bam can beat the monster, or is he too small for 118? I think he can make 118, but he'd be a small 118 pounder. I think 118 would probably be his cap. Truth be told. But I'm looking for, speaking of Bam, I'm just looking forward to seeing him back in action. He's fighting, a tough veteran fighter in Israel Gonzalez, a guy in Israel Gonzalez that, I thought beat Calify and should have been WBA champion in 2018. So Israel Gonzalez is a tune-up only because he's been losing a lot of his most recent fights because he keeps fighting the top guys. But Israel Gonzalez, by a tune-up standard, is good. Is a really good fighter. So I'm looking very forward to seeing how Bam does. This has a chance for him to really launch his career in a major way, being the co-main event on a Canelo undercard. He's earned the opportunity, and I'm looking very forward to seeing Bam go out there and perform. Bam is going to have to face off with Junta Nakatani. That'll be his hardest fight in and around that weight class. I agree. Junta Nakatani versus Bam is a fight that we can't miss as boxing fans. It's a fight that I think is got Fight of the Year candidate written all over it. Two power punching southpaw fighters. Hopefully we get that sooner rather than later. I really want to see Keith Thurman versus Nigel Benn or Conor Benn for some reason. That's an extremely interesting fight to me now. That's what you call good matchmaking. I have them ranked pretty close. Well, Conor Benn just called out Keith Thurman recently. I would like Keith Thurman to fight Conor Benn or one of these kind of guys. I think it'd be really, really, really good. Pop says, "What's going on? Golden Boy Promotions. They're losing good fighters. Will they eventually fall? What are your thoughts?" My thoughts is that I don't want to talk too bad of Golden Boy Promotions because they treated me well, but just being objective, Golden Boy sometimes has a history of not treating their fighters the best. Whether it be Canelo, Sinisa, Joshua Franco, or Andrew Cancio, Golden Boy seems to be accused a lot of not treating their fighters properly. So, if everybody says it, it can't be wrong. There's gotta be, truth and quantity. Hey, Pops, I don't know if you're still here, but if you want to come in and you want to talk some boxing, feel free to come in the room. Come in the room because a lot of people have been asking me about you. So if you want to come in, talk for 10, 20, 30 minutes before we end the live, feel free to come in. How far will the cruiserweight champion from Australia go, and who would you like him to fight next? So he's talking about Jai Opetaia. Huh? Okay, he's talking about Jai Opetaia. I like Jai Opetaia. It's hard to say because Jai Opetaia is a guy that just got his jaw broken in two places. But if he comes back healthy, which I hope he does, I would like to see him fight the guy that just won this past weekend's fight, Chris Billam-Smith. Chris Billam-Smith just won a really, really good fight, a great fight. One of the all-time classics for the British cruiserweight division. Yeah, he won a great fight against Isaac Chamberlain and really showed a lot of grit and determination, being hurt 2 times, hurt once in the second, damn near out on his feet in the 12th round, found the willpower to survive, and, in the rounds in between was very consistent. And, the thing about Chris Billam-Smith is Chris Billam-Smith he's not great at everything, but he's good at it. He's not really great at anything, but he's good at everything. So, if you were to take all of his skills and rate them 1 to 10, he'll be like a 7 everywhere, but he won't be a 5 or a 4 anywhere else. So I like to see that fight because we saw in the back half of the fight that Benavidez had Opetaia in some trouble. I think Billam-Smith, with the way he fights and the size and the stamina and the durability he brings, he makes for a very, very interesting and intriguing matchup with Opetaia. We got Pops in the building. A lot of people have asked, when's Pops coming back? Yeah. And you guys know, when you see one of these, you know Pops is gonna go off when you see one of these. Shout out to the sponsor of Top Rank here. Let me get up so Pops can get to his spot, and let me go grab one of these fruit snacks so you can see. Hold on. Pops in the building. So if y'all got any questions directed towards Pops, go ahead and ask him. What's now?
Hey guys, it's been a minute, man. God bless you guys for being here, being back, supporting Brandon and True School Sports. You know, there's a lot of things going on in boxing. I've seen what everybody was talking about. I see that you guys are still hungry to hear from BT and us, so I really appreciate it. I just want to say that one thing I want to ask you guys, because I haven't seen nobody talk about it, and I know Brendan likes to talk. What do you think about that fuckery with Jake Paul and Rahman? What do you think about that? I think if Rahman would have fought Jake Paul, he would have got his fucking ass whipped by a real boxer. What do you guys think?
You mean Jake Paul by Rahman?
Yeah, what's his name? Rahman, yeah.
No.
I think Jake Paul would have beat the shit out of him. I mean, not Jake Paul. Rahman would have beat the shit out of Jake Paul. He probably got scared like a motherfucker. What do you think? And I hope that Jake Paul, after he got embarrassed by Rockman in the press conference, and when Rockman punked him out, that he goes back to taking YouTube shit to WWE and stay the fuck away from boxing. That's my opinion on that.
Tell him how you really feel, Pops.
Yeah, man, fuck Jake Paul, fuck his brother, and fuck the YouTubers. This is real boxing here. Motherfuckers are disrespecting fighters that have been out there, fucking putting their lives on live training all the time, doing this shit right. And then up this motherfucker, and then I'm gonna go off on even more. I'm gonna offer motherfucker Solomon from fucking WBC president. He's a motherfucker too. You know why? Cause he wants to go ahead and make motherfucker Jake Paul a ranked fighter when he hasn't fought nobody. Fuck him. Fuck WBC. Fuck all that bullshit. And fuck the fuckery on motherfucking Jake Paul. How you gonna rank him?
Count on 10,000.
You're disrespecting fighters that friggin' just dedicating their life from sundown to sunup or sunup to sundown, and you want to see get this motherfucking clown, a YouTuber, a fucking a rank. I'll go there and I'll beat your motherfucking ass, Solomon. If I ever catch you, I'm gonna talk to you in Spanish, Chinese, and everything else.
That's how you feel?
Yeah, that's what I feel about that, man. I think that's wrong.
On a more positive note, what did you think about the fight this past weekend with Isaac Chamberlain and Chris Smith and Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez?
I think Danny Garcia, I think him coming up to the 154 and staying there, I see more of Danny Garcia being more of a thinker in there. More of a thinker in there, throwing out different things that he has in his toolbox that he didn't. I don't think he did much of that in the welterweight division, but I see him that he wants to outsmart the fighter and figuring different ways on how he can beat the fighter. And the way he fought Benavidez, but then again, who is Benavidez? I'm no disrespect. I'm glad he went in there and fought him and gave him the fight. But literally, I think it gave him the confidence they needed. For him to come out and talk about his mental problems that he had, it also spoke volumes on Garcia, letting people know that boxers are humans too. Regardless of all the money in the world, all the things you have, it doesn't mean you have everything in life. So God bless him for that. But I think Garcia will only have a lot of success in the 154 if he goes in there and he becomes more of a thinker and use more techniques than just coming in to try to get the knockout. That's not happening at 154. And as far as what was the other one?
Isaac Chamberlain and Chris Smith.
Isaac Chamberlain, shout out to him. He went in there. It was the first time he fought a 12-rounder. Respect to him in British boxing. I like the other fighter also. It's not against him, Will Smith. I think, in my opinion, and I'm going to agree with Brendan. Brendan was telling me this because I was telling Brendan that Will Smith was tired. Brendan said, that guy never gets tired. And Brendan does a study. He told me, that guy's getting tired. Believe me when I tell you that. And I think he played, Chamberlain played to the cards. He wasn't used to fighting a 12-rounder. And Will Smith won the fight. As simple as that. No excuse. I think he's going to have to go back into the table and playing table and needs to go ahead, in my opinion, get rid of the fucking team he's got, because that motherfucker's team cost him the fight. The assistant trainer had to go in and step in from the original trainer, no disrespect to him, and change the whole game plan. Had he come in there earlier, I think Chamberlain would have won the fight. But the journey is long. He's around the corner. I think he'll be back. And shout out to Will Smith.
Chris.
I'm sorry.
You're saying Will.
Well, I'm Chris. I'm sorry. Chris, yeah. So that's my point on that. People were talking about the Maya fight with Bumgarner. That's going to be a good fight. I think I'm riding with Meyer. I think Meyer I always like that word Olympian. It tells me that in order for you to make the Olympics, you have to be technically sound in your boxing skills to even get to that team. And I think that he will go ahead and overwhelm and beat Bumgarner.
You said overwhelm.
She will beat her. She will beat her. Not tear her ass up. I'm saying she'll do good. Not run over her. No, I'm sorry.
Crazy.
but yeah. So yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, a lot of people have some responses to your Jake Paul Rockman.
Okay.
Trap Media USA says Rockman wasn't professional, Pops. Paul is saving the sport in many ways.
Okay, Paul came in there, and I agree with what you're saying, because the argument is that Rockman signed a contract. I forgot what weight he was supposed to make. But tell me, where have you heard a week before the fight that the fighter has to go ahead and weigh in, and then he's got to weigh in again before the fight happens? I never heard that before, and that was a clause that freaking supposedly that's a clause that Jake Paul put in there. A week before the fight, he's supposed to weigh this weight, and then when they go fight the night before, they're gonna have to do the weight anyways. Who does that? But I get your point. I'm not taking sides for both. I just think I'll tell you what made me think that I think Rockman would have messed him up, no matter if he got paid the money or not. Is when he was punking. In the last conference, when he was punking Jake Paul out, and Paul had no answer for him at all. Paul was fucking gagging. He had his, in his mouth. So I think Rockman didn't do his diligence, because he could have fought him at 200, whatever it was. But at the same time, Paul it's both of their fault. Put it that way. More Paul's than his, though, but for doing that crazy shit. Who does that before a fight? Boxers are still training when that fight that week. Why you go ahead and have him away again, and so forth and so forth.
My man Gorguna said Jake Paul quit the fight before the weigh-in, the quickest no mas in boxing history.
You ain't lying about that, because I'm telling you, when he was in there and Rockman was going at him, he didn't know what to say. He had nothing to say to him, nothing at all. I think they said that card was supposed to be good too, brother, the undercard. Mm-hmm. But me personally, I think that Rockman would have beat the shit out of him, and freaking Jake Paul got scared.
My man Hyro says,
what's up, Hyro?
Hyro says Jake Paul is a pussy ass bitch. How you gonna pick Hashim when McKenzie Morrison's been calling your bitch ass out?
Oh yeah, he did. I seen he called him out. I don't go on Fight Hype anymore, so fuck Fight Hype in my opinion. I don't go on Fight Hype, but I seen he made a lot of comments on it. I would love to see Morrison go ahead and step up. Let Jake Paul and nigga Morrison put him out real quick.
Yeah, you think
put him
so?
out right. Any professional fighter that has skills will put him out real quick. I don't care who it is, because at the end of the day, go ahead. Because at the end of the day, I just feel that it's okay to clown about doing this and having this, but when you stand up and you want to fight real fighters, whether it's Rockman or anybody else, you're eventually gonna get knocked out. I'm telling you that right now. And boys, a lot of fighters a lot of boxers are hoping that somebody knock the fuck out of Jake Paul, because disrespecting the sport, the way he's carrying it, and screw the organizations that support him and want to rank him, because that's wrong. There's people in there for 12, 15, 20 years dedicated to trying to be a champion, and here comes this clown, because he's got all these YouTubers and makes all this money, you want to give him a ranking. When I see, cuando yo te voy a ver, Suleiman, cuando yo te veo, el doble BC, cuando yo te veo, yo voy a hablar bien contigo. When I see you, Solomon, I'm going to have a long talk with you. Yeah.
Anthony Misano says, it's a good question too.
Yeah.
What fighter overachieved based on the perception by the fans? Overachieved based on the perception by the fans of lack of talent, and who underachieved based on the perception that they were going to be the next big thing in boxing? So who overachieved based on the fact that they had lack of talent? I guess, let me see.
Overachieved? The guy from, I'll tell you who. The guy is the Dominican that beat, what's his name? That beat you, the guy that's calling out from New York. The New Yorker that's calling out, he wants to fight, you know what I'm talking about, the one that, oh my God.
I don't have time to play guess who Nelson's talking about.
I'm talking about the Dominican fighter, that's Garcia, for the Dominican Republic. That
Hector Luis Garcia?
Yeah, for me, he showed you. Nobody expected to come into the fight that he was going to beat, what's his name? Nobody expected that. Who did? Who actually thought Garcia was going to beat...
It's a one-off. His career's still going.
Right.
I think
I'm talking about back in the day?
I think some fighters whose careers are already complete.
Oh, that are over? Let me see. I have to think of this one. Let me see.
Who overachieved?
That's a good...
I can tell you who underachieved. That one is easy. Riddick Bowe. Bernard Superbad Mays, who was a fighter from the Kronk Gym, who beat the shit out of Tommy Hearns and damn near made him quit boxing before Tommy Hearns became a thing.
Yeah.
then he became an alcoholic and drugs, and he pretty much didn't have a career because of that. So I would say Bernard Superbad Mays is probably the biggest underachiever in boxing history. As far as, I guess, overachieving guys who didn't have a whole lot of talent and skills, Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah, he was.
Bernard Hopkins had talent, but he'll be the first one to tell you, like, Roy Jones was talented. Like, I wasn't talented compared to a lot of guys, but it was the way he took care of his body and the constant dedication to the sweet science of boxing in and out the ring that allowed him to have such longevity and a great career. So I'll say, on one end, I'll say Bernard Superbad Mays. On the other end, I'll say Bernard Hopkins. And as far as other underachievers, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah, that motherfucker
underachieved.
For real, man. More than that. You ain't lying about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else we got?
Let me see. All these channels, Dick Ryder, Jake Paul, like you, BT, you keep it 100. He's not saving the sport. Real box will never talk about MMA. This guy wants to be in the UFC so bad.
I just think that it's funny you say this because you all gotta go check out YSM Sports Media. It's a good channel from Philadelphia where Boots Ennis trains, and they got a guy named Greg Hackett. They were clowning this whole thing around. They were clowning Jake Paul. They were saying how he should go to WWF and all this stuff, and the way he did it just had me rolling. It's true. I mean, everything in life is opportunity. Jake Paul, and I'm not hating on Jake Paul because they actually have accomplished a lot in the YouTube for doing stupid shit there. But stay in your lane. Your lane doesn't belong over here. You're disrespecting a lot of people, and it's unfortunate that money talks and bullshit walks. And I don't agree with that. I think it's not fair for boxers to be disrespected the way they are, and this guy just gets a free ride. So that's my opinion on that. I know it doesn't mean anything because Jake Paul got the money. He can do whatever he wants. But at the end of the day, go back to your fantasy world with whatever you're doing. Okay.
Trap Media says Paul is from a city of all-time greats in regards to pushing boxing. Cleveland gave us Don King, Al Heyman, and the Paul brothers. So you gave us one guy who's been sued in 6 different decades, another guy who owes a hedge fund $600 million, and you know, someone who is making a mockery of the sport. So take your pick.
That's true. I mean, he's right what he's saying. Hey, those are all real facts. You're talking real. I can't argue.
You know what?
That.
Hey, I talked about it to open up the show, but I wanted to ask you, Pops. What do you think about the Don King, Daniel Dubois lawsuit? Talk about that one. I know you'll have some good sound bites on that one.
I'm just saying, like, I love what he said. Only in America can you get hit in all American lawsuit. Only in America can you be crooked and somehow find some red tape to get around the government regulations and get over on that. Only in America. Don King has been doing this for so long. I mean, when I heard this, when I was reading it, I had to put my glasses back on to make sure I was seeing this right on boxing scene. Am I really seeing what I'm seeing? That this record's still playing out from Don King when he first started, all a lot of fighters to today. It's the reality of boxing when you deal with Don King. You're gonna have to roll the dice and hope he does something for you. I hope he paid. I think he paid Bryant, and I think he paid Stacey McKinley. They've been doing it for a long time. I just don't think he did the fair share. That's my own opinion. I could be wrong. He did the fair share and paid the ball off. And from what I seen on boxing, it was like almost $1 million. So why not sue him? And then it comes right back to our hometown, Broward County. Damn. So we need that right now. Do we need that exposure? No, but this is Don King you're dealing with. You should have known that this is going to happen. How many fighters get involved with some promoters that tell you this and sell you this, and in reality they don't do it? Promoters are just as skimpy, as shady as anybody else, not just in boxing, but I don't want to say that. I'm going to say it anyways. Fuck it. The mafia. You know what I'm saying? They're dirty. They do things on the side. They do what they have to do, and there's no different with fucking promoters than anything else. That's it.
That's it. Hyro says Don King is the GOAT. Those are just allegations in my book.
All right, man.
The state of Florida and the Broward County courts disagree with you, champ.
Hey, how much did Don King pay you to be his lawyer? Because I want to know. I want to know the real deal. But yeah, it is what it is. We've known this to Don King's always had some kind of shady past, and the reality is, Dubois doesn't seem like a shady fighter. What I mean by that, he's earth and this and that. He's down there. I don't think that he had nothing to do. I just think Don King did what he always do. There's nothing new. That's the only way he said. Only in America. You know, right. So now he's got to go through the whole judicial situation, come down to Broward County or have his lawyer come down here, and hopefully he'll get his money. Hopefully. And then again, like I said, you can't fault Mike Tyson when he was going through the shit. Now you see one that day when you see him, Don King for the first time, he grabbed that fucking glass and threw it like this at him. So you gotta understand why.
But he did. But we can't be. He gave us a lot of great fights.
He sure did.
We would have had Crawford Spencer already if Don King was involved.
I will say that, but then again, are we going to get paid?
That's not the point. That's not my business.
I know, but that's what I don't think what you're saying.
I'll be honest. Listen, this is gonna sound really messed up.
Yeah.
It's not really my business if the fighters get paid accordingly. Want to know why? Because I'm just here to cover the sport.
Yeah.
Not the business. They have managers. They have people in place. At least every fighter should have people in place.
Yeah.
To make sure that their finances are looked after. That ain't my job to gatekeep their finances. That's manager's job to gatekeep their finances.
That's right. And if like the saying goes, I heard this record before. What I'm getting at, if boxers went through this before, they know the process, they know everything. They need to look into all that. They knew who they were getting in. But then you were saying that you thought it was
Dubois' fault.
You used to say it was Fish Eye's fault.
Yes, because the reason Don King even got the purse bid in the first place is because Don King won the purse bid.
Okay, but let me ask you.
He put up the $3.1 million. Now Frank Warren's winning all these purse bids. He fucking bid how much money for Tyson Fury and Dillian White.
I know.
He even won the Andre Parker purse bid.
He was on the road.
He couldn't lose purse bids.
Right.
But now he didn't want to.
So basically, that promoter got to pay for everything. That means the other promoter got to put a portion of it regardless, right?
No.
Wow. So
Don King has to pay Queensberry Promotions. He owns Queensberry Promotions $475,000.
Oh, how long has that been?
Since the fight happened, because Queensberry Promotions is paying
man,
licensing fees.
You just see the reality of that. We see what's going on with that. We just have to move on from that. Good luck to Dubois. Hopefully next time he won't shake his Don King's hand and move on. You know what I mean? Just the reality of it. I like Don King. I like what he's a name that actually brought attention to boxing. Will always bring attention to boxing. And again, he brought attention to boxing.
But BC out here basically talking what I think in the core of my soul every day watching and covering this shit. He says, I love boxing, but it's halfway between a real sport and professional wrestling with the way the table was tilted in favor of whoever draws the money. Yeah, it is. It is getting to a point, and that's why like this Friday on Pro Box Promotions they have the last chance tournament. This tournament where they give
the
fighters who a second chance, guys who have lost, guys who have had lack of activity, a chance to fight in a tournament, win a contract, push their career forward, and make a living for themselves in boxing.
Yeah.
And the problem with boxing is that most of boxing are guys who are just like working class people, people who are competent. They can fight their ass off. They can fight at the highest levels. In some cases, maybe sometimes they can't. But they're all generally in the same bracket. And that whole middle ground of boxing is pretty much fucked because if you're not like an elite fighter signed with an elite promoter network, then you can't get opportunities no matter how good you can fight.
It's so crazy.
We know a guy named Pistol Pete Dobson who's been in camp with all the top welterweights, one of the most talented welterweights out there. Can't buy a fight.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. I was talking to Paul Andre, Demetrius Andre's father, a few weeks ago. My son put me on a mission, and the first thing and I never heard this before. Like I really felt like the really anguish on him, and he's like, "Fuck boxing." I said, Paul, what's going on? Hold on, Paul. I just called you about an interview with your son, blah, 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 blah. And he was just telling me that it's crazy because I don't see all this stuff, but I'm starting to see the effect it has on your personal life and how it really pushes you back on the dark side. He literally says that he don't even go to the gym. He stays away from the gym, so forth and so forth. And I'm like, yo, but Paul, he said, no, you don't understand. So for me to hear him, like when I say, hey, what's up, Paul? How you doing? And he's like, how you doing? Well, fuck boxing. I'm like, whoa. So there's a lot of dark side to that. I can't tell you the whole thing because I don't know the whole deal. But I get it. I guess it's really so deep that it really affects your whole life and everything else.
That's why I bought this PlayStation 2 so I can escape from boxing sometimes.
So it's crazy. That's what you might see it. But I just hope that I love what Floyd has done for boxing. I love what he's brought. He's actually extended a lot of things for boxing as far as how to make money, how to do it to exhibitions, how to do it to tournaments, whatever the case may be. It's good, but at some point it becomes draining on other things. There's always a positive effect and a negative effect, and now we're seeing what's happening right now.
Yeah. Gogua says Dan Rayfield is cheerleading for Jake Paul like he's interviewing for a job at MVP Promotions.
Well, he should put on. Well, he should do Bambi from fucking Alex from Wonderland, World Disney. Put his wings on and go fly like that elephant and go over there.
Yeah. Hyro says BT boxing is shit. I gotta watch fights in the past. When I watch stuff in the past, it reminds me of high school and shit. I don't want to remember. Fuck boxing. I can't seem to retire from it.
Yeah, I mean
they're blackballing me.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. It's just a catch-22. You're damn if you do it, you're damn if you don't. When you what I've learned from boxing, like my son was telling me, I say things black and white. He said, Dad, when you're in boxing, you can't think that way. That's not how I think. So when I see somebody tell me, "Oh, you're a great fighter. I want to take you far. Sign this contract for $2,000, and I'm gonna fuck you with 6 more fights that you don't see." I'll take you right to the top.
Yeah, I take care of you. I pay your expenses. And
yeah, so the fighter's excited. Yeah, I got $2,000 bonus. But he didn't read the small print. You also got 6 other fights you got to do for him, and you don't know how you're gonna get fucked over. There's so many things I've seen. Only little things my son said. He'll tell me, I go nuts. He was telling me one time, I won't say no names, nothing. He was telling me one time, one promoter promoted a fighter, but he already had him set to lose the fight. The guy was old, but very talented. And then the fighter didn't know all this until after the fight, when the same promoter came out and said, yeah, I knew you were going to lose anyways. So there's a lot of shit. Because me, and I've seen other times when fighters walk right into the gym after a fight and want to go right into the gym and find the promoter and wring their neck. I'm like, Brandon, what's going on? He says, this is what you don't see. When you play with people's livelihood, when you try, you can't trust anybody. I've been watching, you know what I've been watching? It's crazy. I'm telling you.
What you been watching?
I've been watching motherfucking, the cocaine, the raw cocaine, Pablo Escobar from Colombia, from the AIDS and everything, how the whole cartel, and it's all a bunch of lies. You gotta look at your back. You can't see who's shooting you. You can't see who's loving you. Even the females, everybody's fucking you over. That's what I feel boxing is. You're getting fucked over left and right.
That's what it is.
You don't know if
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you don't know if the guy that's really talking to you is actually being real.
So, So the mentality most boxing people have when dealing with other boxing people was, I gotta fuck him before he fucks me.
Yes, and it's crazy. It's crazy because if you don't, you're gonna get like let's say if I come from Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, or any little country where I'm poor and I don't have no fucking money, and you ship me a $2,000 check, you don't know what that $2,000 check entails, what else you have to do, or what has to happen to you, and then it's just crazy, guys. I don't know how to explain it because he won't tell me because he said I'll go nuts. He just told me. Just look at things the way you move out the way. Don't even take it for yeah.
Spider Moose says every division in boxing needs to have a Super 6 style tournament every 3 years for the biggest bucks to keep the sport respectable and keep parasite promoters from Jake Paul profiting. Well, I agree with that, but where I have a problem, what I would say to that is when we get things like that, like the World Boxing Super Series, that's when no person who claims to be a fan of boxing that claims they want to see that should say, oh, well, can I get a free ticket to the fight? At that point, no, you fucking pay for the tickets. Because the reason why boxing doesn't have those tournaments regularly is because they don't generate no damn money. The Super 6 didn't generate a lot of money because they let Andre Ward fight every fight in Oakland, and Andre Ward can't sell it out this fucking room.
Well, what I'm going to say about that is if you're going to have competition, you got to force the top competition to fight. You got to have the top rankings, the top champions fight in the tournament, regardless of whatever you got to do. And the problem we have there, we have a domino effect of all these promoters and this and managers and this and that, and that's what causes the whole thing. That's why when BT was saying, when he talked about a few weeks ago on videos, he was saying that I wish I had the World Boxing Series, but that's not happening anymore. It's because of that. Everything. It's like when you go buy shit at the store. You're going to spend your hard-earned money on quality, not quantity, right? Yeah. The same thing with having all these tournaments. You got to have the top fighters that people want to see. Whatever is supply and demand, whatever the public demands, that's what it should be, but it never is.
Yeah.
I stay away. I'm glad Brendan got the videos. I'm glad I listen to music and whatever because I'm starting to see a lot of stuff. I just stay quiet.
Such a beautiful sport that can change for the good, but unfortunately, getting in the way. Listen, this sport. I'm talking about the business of boxing, the administration of boxing, the promoters, the managers, the people that are behind the scenes. Collectively, this sport is the den of thieves, robbers, and just greedy motherfuckers. That's what this is.
And the reality,
the sooner you accept it the less you'll be mad.
And the reality is, if they literally had like a set body, like I'm saying a set body that would like have this is my opinion, a pension plan, a stability for everything for all the fighters, it wouldn't be as a free enterprise, so to speak. You know what I mean? And that's what we're seeing. We see people. I don't want to get into it. I'm just saying, like, it should be have some kind of body to run everything, administer everything for the fighters, have a pension plan for the fighters, have a health plan for the fighters, and all these promoters that are millionaires, they're lying to you if they're telling you, just like Brendan says when they tell you they can't make these fights. That's just what's that word you always say? That's a narrative they use. And if we fall asleep in that narrative that the fights can be made because Joe Blow says so, or a lot of blowjobs says so, then we're just as bad as they are. We have to see for what it is. The fights can be made. They're just making it harder than what it is.
It's a fact. Let me see. The one. Hey, the one and only. Good to see you, Pops. BT going ham. My phone died. Just tuned back in. And y'all still talking that the boxing talk. Respect.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. We're just talking about things about boxing. How, they don't have a set body, so it's a free enterprise, so to speak. If you think about it. I mean, who will go, like, literally in the NFL? They can't go and go to the triple or third league or anywhere from league where there's no names or nothing and fight anybody. In boxing, you can just go to Mexico. Sure, I'll fight a garbage can.
Somebody made a great point.
What
they were talking about, like, how fucked up, like, the business of boxing is. They were like, imagine in basketball, right? For my basketball fans out there, you'll get this analogy. Imagine in basketball if Kevin Durant says, I don't gotta play Giannis Antetokounmpo because I sell more jerseys than him. Imagine, like, in basketball, if Kevin Durant said, I don't gotta play the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't gotta play Kevin Durant because guess what? I sold more jerseys than him.
That's crazy.
I'm the face of basketball. What has Giannis done to deserve a basketball game with Kevin Durant?
That's crazy. I'll say one thing that I don't agree with. I think that it should be more police more. I don't think. I mean, going to Mexico and fighting a tomato can and getting a win, I think to me it really hurts the fighter and really give them any kind of confidence.
No, there's a place for that. I think there's a place for that.
You do?
But when you start fucking fighting 20, let's say you're actually a decent amateur fighter and you turn pro and you fight freaking 20 straight pro fights in Mexico, 15 or even 10 pro fights. At that point you're just taking advantage of the broken system and you're not really doing anything for yourself either. No, and you're wasting money.
Yeah, because when you actually,
because them Mexico fights.
Yeah.
If you're someone who works on a regular 9-to-5 job, them shit ain't cheap. You gotta fly to Mexico. You gotta travel to Mexico. You gotta pay for your opponent. You gotta pay for your own hotel in most cases, which is like they normally a lot of these Mexican cards they'll put you up like these.
But doesn't the manager pay for all this for you?
You don't got a manager. You're not a big time fighter.
Oh my god.
I'm saying if you're not a big time fighter, like, if you're a regular, one of those middle of the road fighters I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Like Marco Paz, for example.
Right. God bless him. Yeah.
You go to Mexico. Normally these fights in Mexico, a lot of them are like in these nice resorts, like in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
So you gotta pay for the resort, and it's an expensive resort. You're paying 3-4 days for the resort. You gotta pay for your opponent. Jesus. All this shit, it's ridiculous.
So at the end of the day, it's like I guess Brendan was right to say it's okay to build one fight or two fights to get you confidence. But
I'm not gonna name no names, right? I'm not gonna name no names. I had a fighter call me the other day, right? I'm not gonna say his name, but I had a fighter call me the other day, and he asked me about if he thinks it was a good idea to post something on social media. So then I asked him, why do you feel like you want to post it on social media? And he told me, well, I'm trying to draw attention to build interest for my career. And I said, well, are you sure you want that kind of attention? But then I thought to myself, I was like, well, I want to tell this fighter, don't post no stupid shit on social media because, you don't want to draw that attention. But boxing's created an environment now to where if you're not generating that type of attention or any sort of attention, then you're gonna be looked over. And his promoters, I'm not gonna say who his promoters are, but his promoters pretty much told him, if you want these big fights, you gotta make shit happen. Now they're not gonna make shit happen for him. He said, you gotta make it happen. That's the game we're in. And boxing is an ass backwards business model.
And to back to that, I won't say his name either. But back to he was a talented fighter. That fought from top.
Fought. Well over 15 plus pro fights. Winning camps with top guys. He fought a top guy in his weight class at one point and came up short. But guy's a good fighter, and he can't seem to get the luck of the draw because if you're not like a blue chip talent, it's hard to really make a name for yourself in boxing.
It's crazy how like what really gets me crazy about boxing is like you can be up here and tomorrow you can just get roadblock or blackmail or whatever you want to fucking call them. You down here.
That's a fact.
And nobody can help you, but they can help you when you were there. But then they can at the same time. What's funny is it's like they're giving you food to help you, but behind that they're fucking you behind that. Like, and that's the sad part. And if you like, oh my god, if you say like anything that's real, forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
So you gotta think like, if when I go there, when I go with Brandon, when I see somebody, I'm like, how is he gonna fuck me? The more he fucks me, this sounds crazy. I don't mean to go that way, but the more he fucks me, the better I'm gonna feel because at least I know he's gonna fuck me hard. It's gonna be good. No. I'm talking about as far as doing negotiation or talking boxing. I ain't talking about no sexual bullshit because I don't go that way. And then that's the way. Brandon said, you gotta have that mentality. I said, Brandon, but I can't. He seems like a nice guy. I was like, okay, watch what happens to that fighter. And Brandon told me, look, remember the guy you told me was nice? Look what he did to this fighter.
I'll tell him in advance. I said, this guy's gonna fuck this dude over here. And
I don't believe it, but then he comes back with the facts. He's like, see what happened? I said, well, why are they doing that? I said,
it's boxing.
Yeah. And nobody from the other side that's pulling for you is going to say, oh, I'm going to help you. They're all like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to my man RSOS says, how close is Virgil Ortiz to his peak? He's schooled enough to close down an awkward. Is he schooled enough to close down an awkward fight at this point in his career? Has he done it before? Has he fought a southpaw? How much do you rate him? So how close is he to his peak? I still think he's a couple fights away from that, but he's very good at that. I think there's still more for Virgil to learn. To me, a fighter's peak isn't until his mental abilities and his physical abilities meet up at their highest point. I think Virgil still has some growing to do mentally, so he's not quite there yet, but he's getting there. As far as is he schooled enough to close on an awkward fighter at this point in his career, he fought one awkward fighter, and albeit it was an older, faded awkward fighter who had seen better days in Mauricio Herrera, but he knocked Mauricio Herrera out in one round. So this is the first time he's fighting an awkward fighter who's younger, has more youth. So I think this test with McKinson's a bit different. Hold on. Has he done it before? Yes, he did it with Herrera. And then has he fought a southpaw? No, he has not. This fight with McKinson will be his first fight against the southpaw, which is why I'm excited about it. And how do I rate Virgil Ortiz? Virgil Ortiz is one of the top young fighters in boxing. He's got one of the most educated, consistent power jabs in boxing, not just for young fighters, but for fighters in general. Got a very good left hook. He's very physically strong, and he's finished off every opponent he's fought. Now, I think I'm gonna learn a lot about Virgil and his boxing IQ this week, seeing how he deals with McKinson, because McKinson, what you see on paper isn't necessarily what he is in the ring. And what I mean by that is, you see 21-0 2 knockouts, but there's more to that 21-0 2 knockouts than you think. He's 21-0 2 knockouts, but he's physically strong enough to drop fighters. He's done it plenty of times. Chris Congo made the mistake of looking at that record, and he found himself on his ass a couple times and got schooled. So it's important for Virgil to not do the same thing, and try to keep McKinson on the end of those punches as much as possible, because McKinson is good at smothering fighters. McKinson understands range pretty good, and he's a much better fighter than people give him credit for. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they both deal with each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it like this. I've always been a big fan of Virgil Ortiz until I went to Philly, and I still like him. I wish him the best.
Wait, so you're not a fan of Virgil no more?
No. What I seen what Boots got in the damn Boots, no. I think Boots would beat the shit out of Virgil easily. Back to what I was saying. I always been a fan of Virgil Ortiz, but one thing that I don't like about him, I don't think. If he had, in my opinion, if he had problems, issues with his health at 147 before all this shit happened for the first fight with McKinson, I think he's still going to have the same problem. Ooh. I think he's trying to be a weight bully at 147 instead of moving up to the actual weight. It's better for him. 154 is next, whatever it is, 154. I think he's doing himself some wrong. He's doing injustice to him. He say he wants to stay. See, sometimes we're stubborn. And Virgil Ortiz wants to be stubborn. He wants to say he wants to stay there until he becomes champion. Well, what happened if that jeopardizes his health like they did before? You got to think about that. You know what I mean? And if you do want to fight a top fighter, I mean, in respect to McKinson, I want him to see what he does with southpaw. But that's my opinion.
Absolutely. Let me get this one first. Yeah. He said, Dondado, what's good, champ? Good to see you, champ. He said, BT and Pop, what to do? Good to see you, Dondado.
What's up? God bless.
Who you got in the Better BF versus Yard? This trend is set to October 22nd, but no announcement yet. Better BF by absolute decapitation.
Who's he fighting?
Anthony Yard.
He's done. Anthony Yard doesn't know what he's getting into. I'm telling you right now. I like Anthony Guard. I better say he's got a good trainer that's changing a lot of things in his game, but he hasn't met a monster like Benavidez.
Yeah. My man says I put 100 pound on Michael McKenzie to win. If it pays out 850 pounds or euros or whatever, couldn't say no to the odds, and big love from Portsmouth. Much love to the fine folks of Portsmouth.
Thank you.
Listen. I personally think Virgil is gonna beat Michael McKenzie, but man. My heart is definitely on Michael McKenzie. He's the underdog. I mean, somebody made a tweet on Twitter. They said Virgil Ortiz's second pro fight was at AT&T Stadium on a Canelo undercard, which holds 80,000 seats. Okay. Michael McKenzie's second pro fight was at some community center that had less than 500 people.
So he got more motivation.
That's what I'm saying. He's come a long way.
Yeah.
So he's the underdog. He's the underdog. Nothing was given to him. He comes from a small town in Portsmouth. If you're a British fighter and you're not from Liverpool, Manchester, one of those big cities, you can kind of get like overlooked at times. And so anytime I hear one of these British fighters who are not from the normal like cities,
gotta pull for them because
my eyes kind of race.
And I think that those fighters are more hungrier than the norm. I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think because you come from a city of unknown, because people don't know about you, because people think that those cities can't bring somebody or bring has a stallion, but he's not a thoroughbred yet. You don't know until you get to the ring, and I think those places are small places people don't know about, and the crevices and the corners are the ones going to come out be hungry.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, that's right.
Crawford's
good place. Good
Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah,
where Michael Nunn was from.
Yeah, you just don't know. So I mean, that's the thing. That's what I love about boxing, getting opportunity. And I think McKenzie's got the shot now that he wanted with Virgil Ortiz, and we'll see how. I got to see Virgil Ortiz. I want to see if he's dehydrated, if he's healthy or whatever. I don't know what's. I haven't seen him last time. Last time he was crying about how sick he was.
Anyway, a couple more comments and I'm gonna end the live because I got other things that I tend to today. I think McKenzie is going to show that Virgil has other wrinkles and skills. He boxed a bit against Mean Machine. He did do that, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other. I'm looking forward to seeing him, show other wrinkles in his game if he has them. You know what I'm saying? Hyro says, Sinisa Estrada told Golden Boy, "Fuck you," and Golden Boy was like, "Fuck you. We got plans to 105, just not with you." Yeah, because they signed the Costa Rican girl, Costa Vale, and Golden Boy is actually no. Not only did they sign her and they're making a fight, they're actually gonna have a fight in Costa Rica. Like they're gonna go to Costa Rica.
Oh shit!
So she's fighting the Chinese champion TT.
That one was active. That one we seen last time.
Who?
Remember that Chinese girl? Who she fought? She was really active.
No, you know this Chinese girl.
Okay.
This girl's like 5-0, one knockout. Like you don't know this one.
Yeah.
She's Hyro's favorite fighter.
So hey, I'm gonna hire on that one.
We watched Mike McKenzie in nightclubs in the beginning of his career, so we're very proud of him. He came from the bottom. He really did come from the bottom. That's why I laugh. Like people in boxing always talk about, oh, this fighter came from the bottom. This fighter came from. Listen, man, Michael McKenzie. If you've really done your homework on his career, the man really came from the bottom. And I love when the fighters that come from the bottom get their chances to prove themselves. That's because that's all you can ask for in life is opportunity. What he does with it is ultimately up to him.
That's right.
All you can ask for is a
chance,
an opportunity. But listen, guys, I got other things I got to do. We'll be back tomorrow to go live again. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
but maybe we'll talk more about that Joseph Parker, Joyce fight and other things going on in boxing.
Yeah,
but,
thank you so much for being here.
Continue to support the channel. We'll be live this weekend for McKenzie versus Virgil Ortiz. And things have been a little slow in boxing, so obviously the channel's been a little slow. But listen, man, we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it pushing. And we're going to get to where we need to be with your guys' help, with Pops' help, and God willing, we'll get to where we need to be. Talking that world-class boxing talk. So when you support me, you support the real and not the fake. And that being said, you guys take care. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.